Hi everyone, my name is James Feeney. Welcome to or back to my channel. Today I'm here doing a VR to Anna Astral Lady, Anna Astral Lady Tarot, and this is in response to her daily draw video and the hashtag that she started there, taking us through her own process, showing us a little bit about how she does things in more of a daily sense and goes about her daily draws and what that entails, taking us through her mindset, which I thought was really fun, and I found hers very interesting, so I wanted to hop on and participate in this hashtag and just give you guys a peek at an idea of maybe what I might do for a daily draw. Also, my dog is here hanging out right now. You might hear him licking things off to the side, or if he makes some noises, he just wanted to come and hang out with me, so hopefully that's not distracting. He's just doing his thing. But yeah, I'll just first start by saying that I could resonate a little bit with what Anna said in just saying that she isn't always interacting with tarot or doing spreads and draws for herself or in a personal way every single day. I can definitely relate to that. I think I interact maybe almost every day with tarot in some way, shape, or form, whether it be books or media or just doing things in regards to my decks, but I'm not always drawing spreads. I don't always have time for or feel inclined to do a daily draw. I would say that it's something I try to do pretty often, but it's not an everyday thing. And this made me question a little bit what my process is, and I've found, especially in recent months, that a lot of the way that I go about doing my daily draws is actually using decks that I'm not super comfortable with or familiar with, and that the daily draw is a way for me to better understand the deck and work with it and build that relationship. So a lot of the decks that I'm going to be using are ones that I would in turn maybe pull the guidebook out for the card, or spend a little bit more time with, just because when I'm pulling something for myself, I feel more comfortable in not knowing the deck or the card or the system as well. So I have, say, like my Rider-Waite Smith decks and things of that are more clonish or very much geared towards that system that I'll always use for, say, clients and others, but there are days when I want that ease for my own daily draws where I can really dig into it in a more intuitive sense and not have to worry about the technical aspects. But I would say a lot of the time I do use my daily draws as an opportunity to get better accustomed. Oh, I think my dog wants to leave. Okay, the door's closed, so let me let him out really quick. Bye. Okay, he just wanted to head out, I guess. He had his fill of me. So, but yeah, I use my daily draws a lot of the time to get better acquainted with decks. So today, and I usually use a couple different decks, and I'll pull like a card from each. Sometimes I'll use just one deck, but I found a lot of times I'll combine Tarot and Oracle. Oracle's been a big one for me lately, whereas it wasn't for like years, And now I really love implementing Oracle in my daily draws and spreads. So the ones I'm going to be using today are the Thoth Tarot, because I've been studying that. I'm about done with the Book of Thoth, but I'm nowhere near proficient in reading this just on its own. So I'm using kind of my daily draws as a good way to practice with this. So that's one that we have. I have also, I'll put this here. We have 4 decks, I should say. And I usually like to keep my daily draws anywhere between 1 and 5 cards. Any more than that, and it starts to somewhat feel a little bit confusing sometimes. So I also have the Aura Soma Tarot. This is one, strangely, and it is surprising to me, that I've been using a lot lately for bigger spreads, personal aspects, and now that I'm on more so this like divine feminine, sacred feminine path of healing and work, this actually is a lot of what kind of illuminated that need for me. And I like the imagery, I like the colors. I just feel like there's a lot of messages here, and the book, the guidebook, along with, I'll show another book, have been really helpful too. So that actually, this one in particular, the guidebook is really what is a big part of it for me in terms of liking the daily draws. And then we have 2 more decks, and these 2 are Oracle, and I'm gonna pull 1 card from each today. And we have the Nature Nurture cards or deck or oracle by Marcella Kroll. This was a Christmas gift along with the Sacred Symbols for Divination and Meditation Oracle deck. And I think I like this one a little bit better, actually. And this one I find myself, I'll draw it throughout the day. I just love like shuffling it, and yeah, you guys will see. But these are both by Marcella Kroll. Really great quality, awesome decks. I wanted them for a while. They were out of stock, or they yeah, she like for a while they were out of stock when I went to go get them, and then thankfully I got them for Christmas and they're back in stock. So you guys can go check those out on Etsy. I'll try to remember to link all of these around and below. I know if anybody has kept up with my Instagram, you know my story with the Orosoma. But customer service and production aside, it's a really beautiful deck. So I do actually recommend the deck itself. Just yeah, maybe check out the post too, so you have like a really well-rounded view. But yeah, we'll get into that, and I'm trying to think. These both come with small little white books that I'll reference, I'm sure, but these ones you can kind of just go off very intuitively, very simply, in a simple way that the guidebook offers a little bit, but it's nothing, it's not like you're reading paragraphs. So yeah, it's more so the Orosoma that I'm going to really want to dig into the book. So I'll just pull a card from each. I don't really have a table, so we're hand over hand shuffling, but I am a big riffle shuffler. So we have Death. Oh, and in doing these daily draws, there are times when I'll set spread positions, but a lot of the time I like to just keep an open mind. None of the cards are assigned to a certain type of meaning or to communicate based on a certain topic. I just let them all sort of meld together, and sometimes, a lot of the time, the topic itself or what it's trying to communicate surfaces. So our first card is Death from the Thoth deck. Next we will pull from the Orosoma, and I usually break this one in half and then riffle shuffle the first half, and then we will do the second half, because this is like 117 cards, and then I'll combine the two together and really just do this sort of like mix up. Even when you break it in half, where it's like more of a manageable size, the cards are not even in height, so it's not really one that you can riffle shuffle at all anyway. But we're getting past that. Okay. And so we got one here, and we have, wow, this is the one that I was like showing you on the bottom before, but it showed up in the middle now, so I guess it really wanted to come out. We have the Devil, the Outward. So this would be the first Devil. There's two of each major, and there's the Outward and the Inward. So sort of one is more so coming back to, and well, I'll get a little bit more into that, but yeah, this is the Devil, the Outward, card 15. So that's interesting. Death, then we have the Devil. What a day. Maybe this day is a little bit more monumental and of greater significance than I thought. Based on these cards here, I thought we were just going to get like a nice little, I don't know what I thought we were going to get, but I don't know. This is just a little surprising now. So yeah, oh, here I'll show the cards. Those are the backs, and these are the fronts. These are great. I think there's like 40 something in this deck. So we have Nature Spirits, number 39. So we'll set that off to the side as well. Get in the box. Keep the guidebook out so we can reference that. And then the little Nature Nurture Oracle. These guys are like tiny, smaller than like a poker-sized deck of playing cards. And they're nice little gold gilded. They're just so cute. So we have the Wild Woman, free, number 30. At first I couldn't tell if that was 3 or 30. And it's funny because I think that automatically just going based on what we have here, it feels like, let me just put all this stuff aside so it's not cluttering up my space. These two have very similar imagery, Wild Woman and Nature Spirit, and although of course it's by the same artist and the art style, there's all that, but as far as the decks go, there isn't a lot of other images for reference that look like these two. Like, these two would probably, I'm surprised, be the only two that really seem very similar, but like down to the face and that really natural look of almost being plant-like or tree-like. So that's really interesting. That's something I'm noting right off the bat with these two. So we'll start with Death here, and I'm not going to reference the book because I am trying to become more proficient with Thoth without the book. Although I really like to, for correspondences, use the book and look those sorts of things up. Of course, I know that corresponds to Scorpio, which is the same as Rider-Waite. Yeah, and I forget planetary-wise if there's something there, and I'm not so well versed in the Hebrew letter either, so that's unfortunate. That's something I'm still getting better at. But when it comes to this one, it does feel a little bit different for me than the Rider-Waite in terms of Thoth. I take this as more of a... It feels more alchemical. It feels more like that putrefaction, like a decay, a dying that is necessary. So yes, there is that end that gives way to a beginning, but at the same time, I see this a little bit more so as the feeling of oldness, of something being overripe, of it having come to its time of end. So as opposed to that fresh start just yet, I'm sensing this to be a little bit more of that of stagnation that becomes putrefied, because it's just it's dying, it's decaying, it's ending. And I feel like this is a little bit more so in terms of my daily life. I'm kind of in a weird spot career-wise. My living situation, there's a lot going on, and I think that there have been a lot of signs, and this is just another one in a more daily sense, pointing to that fact that yes, things are drawing to an end, there is a change afoot, but there is this sense of decaying and dying that needs to take place and to happen to really solidify the process. So this would be the end to a cycle, like a winter or a late fall of sorts in terms of life, more emotional and feeling the way that I interpret things. It is water, it is Scorpio, it is that that bit of mystery that is underlying. It is more so intangible in nature, and I do feel that. So that's how I'm choosing to take this card, and what I think it is saying to me. It's just highlighting that aspect and making sure that it's sticking in my mind, and hopefully getting me thinking, the gears turning. So that's what I'm seeing with the Death card here. And then we have the Devil, the outward journey of the Devil, I should say, with the Aura Soma. So this is one where I am going to draw upon the books, but before we even get into that, there's the outward and the inward. So, or the return, I should say. Outward and inward, no, it's the return. So after all of the cards in the deck, we come back to the majors, and we have the return of all of them. So that when we see the return, we see almost like the fulfilled, the enlightened version, the best version of what that card is. So say we have the Devil, the return of the Devil, that would be kind of overcoming those confines, breaking free of a cycle or addiction or self-imposed limitation. It would be realizing and integrating that energy and interacting with it and having come full circle. Here, when we see it more so in its basic form, the starting, the origins of the devil, and the more obstacle oriented version of what the devil personifies to us. So this is going through that process of breaking free. I'm personally taking this more so as feeling and being confined by circumstance, and me needing to be the one to break that cycle and to push myself to move beyond and to incite the change. We have the decay that's going on here, and it's happening in tandem, I should say, with the energies of the devil, which is more so that self-imposed, restrictive, self-sabotaging energy. So these two together, and this is telling us it's time to move on. The end is near, in a way. Things are decaying. It's not a pretty time, and this is also telling me that it is a little bit self-imposed. There's a lot going on under the surface that you need to address, and to break free from. We have these energies that are just almost pushing me into a state of needing to react or act, because the going with the flow is not working. We need to act and to rise up a little bit. So we're going to use the book for a second here. So we have the guidebook, which you buy separately from the deck itself. So let us find the devil. So it breaks down the symbols. We have a little description of the imagery, and then we have a divinatory type meaning. We also, for the majors, have the Kabbalah path, and it outlines that for us. And it tells you, of course, the colors that correspond to Orosoma. Or no, that's the return journey, so it does tell you the return up here, but you also get the Orosoma color correspondences. If you're in despair, if you are in despair or weighed down by earthly dross, escape by lifting your gaze to the light. Its beautiful possibilities. Negative thinking and fear can be self-fulfilling. Things are not what they seem. So we do get that sense of needing to break free and things being self-imposed negatively. This is really a book that I think is helpful. Thank you to Kasha from Tarot Map for turning me on to this one. So thanks if you're watching this. So here we would find, this corresponds 15. So let's find bottle. I think it corresponds to bottle 15. I don't have the cards with the bottle backs. Those aren't really made anymore, unfortunately. But we can still figure it out. Let me just make sure I'm doing this right. Is that right? Clear and violet? Yes, okay. The colors are right. It's number 15. Deals with the crown chakra, devil card association. The main theme to gain one's own healing powers. So yes, this is a lot about the self. Helping to attain healing powers, promotes understanding of spiritual matters on a mental level, overcoming sexual egocentricity, allows a person to release the idea that he or she is the only unfortunate one. So that's sort of self-pity and self-despair of circumstances. A lot of this I'm seeing as more internal obstacles to overcome, negative aspects to overcome. It's about spiritual strength, belief, spiritual yet grounded life, overcoming negativity and unknown fears, and learn how to understand temptations. In a more negative sense, we have someone who is obsessed by material things. There's not a lot of self-love and a need for external praise. Believes that the evil comes from the outside, so that would be kind of turning away from the fact and placing blame upon the environment and others as opposed to taking responsibility. So yeah, I didn't read all of it, but there's a lot in this book. So if you have the deck, this book is honestly better than the guidebook. Yeah, definitely recommend that one. Thanks, Kasha. So that's what we have there. I'm sorry, this is becoming longer than I intended. So we have the Wild Woman, and we will use the guidebook here. What did I do with that guidebook? I put it up here, didn't I? 30. The Wild Woman, free, personal power, instincts, and freedom from inhibitions. The Wild Woman asks you to free yourself and let your instincts come from the center. Be comfortable with your wild nature and desires. Dance, dream, speak your own mind, move your body and life force without abandon. Drawing this card, regardless of gender, invites you to connect with the divine feminine. See, a lot of these things, and I know it is the decks that I'm using, and like the themes of the decks do play into, say, the divine feminine, but it's just so funny to me that so much has been leading me towards the divine feminine. And now you guys know, if you've watched that video that I just posted on that, and how that's a big journey for me in 2020. So this is really funny. Invites you to connect with the divine feminine that creates, excites, and transforms her fear into usable energy. So that also connects back to the devil, I think, or doubts that one's caged in her spirit. If you're inquiring about a relationship or situation, then pulling this card could ask you to liberate yourself from any emotionally or mentally suffocating circumstances. It's imperative to fully be your authentic self at this time without filters. So I think this speaks to almost the devil energy and overcoming it by means of embracing the divine feminine, being free, seeing yourself as this endless, limitless, powerful spirit of immense capability, and using that to overcome and rise above. So I'm digging this one. We have that guy here, and here we'll use this book, and this is number 39, Nature Spirits. Okay, so the elementals, fairies, divas, and other nature spirits request your presence. It's time to venture outside. Get into nature and recharge your batteries with the trees, the grass, the mountains, the desert, and the sea. There is magic that awaits for you when you commune with nature. Symbol is the dryad, so that's the symbol that we're getting here, is a dryad. Dryads are tree spirits and keepers of the earth knowledge. Greek in origin, but worshipped by many respected earth-based religions. So it is a universal. They're saying that like the term dryad comes from Greek, but earth-based religions and spiritualities around the world tend to agree with the fact that there is spirits associated with trees, or elementals with the earth. So I think that potentially the Wild Woman, and how we can go about even just putting into action today some of these things, and working to combat that devil energy and what it's asking us to do. We might find some inspiration in nature. Of course, I think it's asking me to then evaluate a bunch of circumstances. So I'm not saying that going out in nature and enjoying that is going to solve it all. It is winter, it is a little bit cold, but I can always get outside for a little bit, or just take some time to really meditate on that. So I might actually try to do that based on these cards. I really like how this one is, this deck really does usually have a call to action in its cards. So this one's really helpful for that, and it makes me feel like I have a next step to take based on whatever my daily draw is. So I've been using this one lately a lot, and find that extremely helpful. So those are my 4 cards for the day. I think I have a lot to think about, and it is funny that we do get that divine feminine. A lot of this, although I didn't know what to expect and didn't assign positions, makes a lot of sense in terms of my life right now, and I think that these 2 are really helpful and just make me feel really safe and protected, as well as pushing me a little bit. So I really liked these in that way. These oracles have been really helpful. I've been using these 2 specifically a lot. So this was really fun. So that's a little bit of how I would go about doing my daily draws. I usually tend to leave the cards out on, I have my table over there, which is where I would normally do the draws, on a cloth, but I usually will leave them out throughout the day, depending on how much I'm home or around. I'll return to them and try to really find more in the imagery, really look for those fine details, start to break down the whole burning up in the fire, potentially releasing, the sky feeling as though it is a burden upon the people, yet it's illuminating this shadow or dark period. I would try to go into that a little bit more. I would consider the Capricorn association with the devil, and the restriction there. I know that I'm forgetting the planetary associate. Is it Saturn? I'm sorry if it's not. I'm just getting into that kind of stuff, so please forgive me. But yeah, so I would really try to dig into that. I'd probably do more research for my own benefit there, just because I am using cards and systems that are outside of my comfort zone. Yeah. And then there are days when I'll just turn, I don't have it right here, but I would just turn to like a Rider-Waite-Smith or something I'm comfortable with, like Tarot of the She, or what else do we have in there? I might use Spirit Keepers, which I'm a little bit more comfortable with, or the Tarot de Saint Croix, something like that. So there are days when I really just crave something like that, but for the most part, I like to test myself and use this opportunity to learn. And those are the 4 decks that I've been using for the past few days and really been enjoying. So let me know what you guys think. And thank you, Anna, for starting this hashtag. I've really enjoyed it, and I found yours really interesting, the way that you worked with the elemental aspects, and the way that you talked about the pentacles I found really interesting, them kind of transcending the physical, mundane, career, and just things that we can touch. I liked that. That resonated with me, and I think that in the Spirit Keepers Tarot, I really like how they've changed the pentacles to orbs, and that makes me think of it more as this like manifested, tangible energy. I used to always think of like the pentacles as the most boring suit. I know that sounds horrible, but the way that you described it too, I kind of have been on a little bit of a journey in just expanding my viewpoint and personal biases where the suits are concerned. So thank you for that, Anna. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm sorry it went a little bit longer than expected, but hope you all are doing well. Until next time, bye.